My name is Poonam Bharat Kulkarni and I am going to introduce some points about object-oriented programming in this lecture. I am working as assistant professor in ATS SBJI Mirrors. Now, firstly, we will introduce some points about OOP. Now we can see that there are two languages, that is C++ and Java, which are commonly known as object-oriented programming. The first, C++ is a general purpose, high level and compiler based language. Now why it is called as a general purpose? Because we can see that the C++ covers vast area in our regular life. For example, the operating system such as DOS, Linux and Windows are using the C++. Editors such as Notepad, Edit Plus, WordPad are using the C++. Next, there are some commercial applications of C++ such as banking, hotels, malls, etc. In some database softwares, for example, you can see that banking purpose, in the banking purpose, there must be some database used, and that database is based on the C++, for example, SQL, MySQL. Next, there are some translators such as compiler, assemblers, interpreters which are using the C++. Now, there are some device drivers, for example, printer, and there are some PC and mobile games. So we can see that it is covering the vast area in our day-to-day life. So it is a general purpose, high level and compiler based language. Next, firstly we will see what is the software. Now the software is a collection of programs. Okay, you can see the diagram here. So the software is, we are using software in each and every area in our regular life. Next, what is a program? Program is a set of instructions. Instructions means we are giving some commands to the machine and machine following it and giving the output to us. Next, we will see, we have already see this, that is OOP is the object oriented programming and C++ is known as the object oriented programming language. Now, firstly we will see what is procedure oriented programming. Now we are using the C language. C is commonly known to us, it is friendly to us, and uh, along with the C there is a Pascal and Fortran language which is procedure oriented language. Now a program in procedure language is a list of instructions. Now, what is procedure oriented language? We will see the working of procedure oriented programming language. Firstly, there is a main program. Next, it is divided into many functions. Now you can see in the diagram there are three functions. Firstly, at the first level, function 1, function 2 and function 3. Now it is mapped to the function 4 and function 5, and again the function 4 and function 5 are mapped to function 6, function 7 and function 8. So you can see that the procedure oriented programming language is collection of functions and it contains the relationship between all those functions. Now the procedure oriented programming language has some drawbacks, that is easy access to global variables. Now what is the global variable? Global variables means these variables are used for the whole program. You can access those variables to the whole program. Next, there is no protection to data. Now, in procedure oriented language, there is no encapsulation used, there is no class used, so there is no protection to the data. Next, in large program, it is very difficult to identify what data is used by which function. Now, we are seeing the smaller one programs, but in case of MNCs, you can see that there is a integration of very much uh, integration of many more modules. and in that integration it contains larger programs which contains the hundreds of the or thousands of the lines of codes, and it is very much difficult to identify what data is used by which function. Next, if new data is added, all the functions should be modified. So this is very time consuming process. Next, it does not model real world problems. Now we have already seen that the C++ uh, involves the very much or the very large area, but in case of a procedure oriented programming language, it does not model real world problems. Now this is the simple basic program. You can see that this is your first C++ program, that is hash include iostream.h. Next is the using namespace standard. Next, integer main, cout, hello world, return 0. So now you can see that these are some statements in C++. Now, the output of this program is hello world. You can see that output on the output screen. First, we will see the brief introduction of this program, that is it contains the first line, that is hash include iostream.h. Iostream.h means it contains the header files, and that header file contains the basic functions which are already defined, and you can use those functions in your program. For example, we are using the cout in this program. Now iostream.h means input output stream header file. Next is the using namespace standard. Using namespace standard means now there are some standards which are already defined for the syntax or the for you can how you can write the program. Next, integer main. Integer main is the function which is already defined in the header file, and integer is a return type of that function. Next is the cout. Cout is used for display purpose. Whenever I execute this program, the hello world will be you can see hello world in your on your screen. Next, we will move forward to the features of OOP. Features of OOP, that is first reusability and maintainability. Next, both data and functions that operates on data are combined into single unit called object. Next, the program is divided into objects. And the last one means communication between object is done through function. The first one is the reusability and maintainability. In OOP, we are using the classes. Now, that classes can be used again and again in program without writing that again. So, that is known as the reusability. Maintainability means C++ programs are very much easy to maintain. Next, both data and functions are combined into single unit called object. Means now we can see that the C++ is the object oriented programming. So all the programs are centered on the object or focused on the object. Now the object contains the copy of the data and the functions which are present in the program. Next, the program is divided into objects. So you can have many more classes in your program, and you can have many more objects for each class in your program. The communication between object is done through the functions. Now this is varying uh, among the procedure oriented language and object oriented programming language, that the communication is done through the functions. Now the basics of OOP. Now you can see in the diagram, the first one is the object, inheritance, encapsulation, abstraction, polymorphism, attribute, method, and class. So these are the basic features of OOP. Now first we will see what is object. Now the object contains the copy of the data and the functions which is present in your program. Now you can use that object to access the data and the functions. You cannot directly access any data which is present in the program. That's why the object oriented programming is a safe language. It provides the security to the data. Next is the inheritance. Inheritance means it is just like a parent and a child relationship. Now, which are the properties present in the parent will be acquired by the child class. The next is the encapsulation. Encapsulations means the data and the functions which are present in the program are encapsulated between the class, and it provides the binding between the data and the function. Also, it provides the protection to the data and the function. Next is the abstraction. Abstraction means uh, we are hiding the details of the program. We are giving only important part of the program, that is abstraction. Next is the polymorphism. Polymorphism means the same, the methods having the same name but different purpose of the functions. We will see that later. Next is the attribute. Attribute means which is providing the details about your data, that is the attribute. Next is the method. Method is just like the function. Next is the class. The class contains the data and the functions together. Next, this is the basic structure of OOP program. The first you can see that there are C++ headers. Next there is a class definition, that is you can define a class. Next, member function definition. In the class you can define member functions. Next, it contains the main function, and from the main function uh, each program starts the execution from the main function. So this is the structure of C++ program. Next, this is the source code and the output. We have already seen this. Next, a class. Now we have introduced the class. It consists of data members and member functions which are accessed and used only by instance. Instance means the object of that class. Now the class is user defined data type. What is meant by user defined data type? That every user can define its own data types. You can define your own classes. Now this is the basic structure of the class. You can see here the first, that is the class definition. The first one is the circle. Circle is the name of the class. Next, it has some attributes or it has some data, that is radius is there. Radius is having the double data type. Next, it has the color. Color is having the string data type. Now, get radius, get color, get area, these are the functions of this class. Now, you can create many more objects for a class. Okay, you can have one object or more than one object of each class. You can see here in the diagram there are three objects created, that is C1, C2 and C3. By using these objects you can access the data and the functions which are present in the class. Next, this is the basic diagram of the object. The object contains the attributes of a class and the operations which are defined in the class. Now, what is the object? Object is a basic unit of OOP. It also known as the instance of a class. It consists of various data members, that is attributes and operations. These data types and member functions are bundled together in one unit called object. The next is the abstraction. Abstraction. It is a model of complex system that includes only essential details. Now, if you are writing a project report, then the first page of that report is the abstract. Now you are giving the brief review of your project. Okay, you are not giving any details in that abstract. So the abstraction means the hiding the details and only giving the essential details. Now it helps to manage the complexity and it supports modifiability and reusability. Next is the encapsulation. Now, it can be said as a data binding. It binds variables and functions together inside a class. You can see here, it is just like a capsule. Okay, it is just like a capsule which contains the methods and variables. Now, this encapsulation provides the protection to the methods and the variables by using the class. Next is inheritance. Now, inheritance is a process of forming new class from existing one. As we have already seen that it is a relation between the parent and a child class. Now, the inherited class is called as a base class or a parent class. The class which inherits is called the derived class. Derived class is also known as a child class. You can see here a diagram which contains the lion and her baby, that his baby, that is son. I am a base class. Now there is an inheritance and the child is the derived class. Now there are basically five types of inheritance. The first one is the single inheritance, multiple inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, multi-level inheritance and hybrid inheritance. We will see the details of inheritance in our next lecture. The last feature of the OOP is the polymorphism. Now poly means many. It refers to same name with many forms. Now in C++, functions with same name but with different arguments is known as a function overloading. Now just like the C++, the same features are of the Java. The Java is also a general purpose high level language and the same features, that is object, class, inheritance, encapsulation, abstraction and polymorphism. These are some features of Java. So this is all about the introduction of OOP. OOP contains the both C++ and Java and uh, this is all about the features of Java. So thank you so much.